Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. It is yours truly, David McCaig. We're here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. It is September the 12th, 2018, here for the Wednesday edition of the Game Sports Show. We're here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill for its famous 75-cent wing nights, and also got to make sure that you make SportsCenter a part of your Sunday as well for game day. Due to the Sunday game day draw, we have a chance to win 4 tickets to the Miller Lite Tap Room at Ford Field. We actually just gave away the second set of tickets between the Lions and Patriots, and congratulations to the winners, Marnie and Jason Thompson. Next draw will be on the 25th, which is a Tuesday, and that draw will be for the Lions and for the Packers. And hopefully for Lions and Packers fans, that Aaron Rodgers will be in the lineup for that game, but we're going to get to that while we continue with the show. And in regards to tonight's show, we have an action-packed show, and not only just an action-packed show, but an action-packed crew tonight here for the Game Sports Show. Basically, all hands on deck, to the exception of Brad Cochimilio and Dane Hancho and Scott Nason, of course, even though Scott Nason is our board operator tonight, which thank you to Scott for doing that, and obviously thank you to the listeners for making us a part of your night tonight. And if you're not down here at SportsCenter, as I said, we appreciate you making part of your night, but you got to come on down to SportsCenter, especially on Wednesdays, and get down to enjoy the wings, the Molson products, the pizza even, any type of food, and just the atmosphere in general here, and the great staff here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. And once again, Marnie and Jason Thompson, congratulations again. You get to go see the Patriots and the Lions. That's Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, to go watch. So it's a great contest to get a part of, and definitely come out and check SportsCenter that how you can sign up and for your chance to win tickets to a Lions game this season. Tonight's agenda, we're going to go through local football. We're going to go through last week, week 1's NFL games that happened. We're going to go through week 2, and that will be after the first break. And then after that, we'll have another break, and the show will conclude with a round table. Again, so in the first part, we're going to have local football and a recap of last week, followed by a break, and then we'll have week 2 matchup in preview, along with another break that we'll have a round table discussion. And to get to the crew that I have the luxury of being around on a weekly basis here at SportsCenter, or at Northern Superior Brewing Company, or also even at the Wicked Sister from time to time, I got Matt Premo, who was newly on the Game Sports Show this summer as he came on with the coach of the SaberCats of football here in Sault Ste. Marie, and obviously making In the Pocket segment a year-around segment, which is definitely one of our most popular segments of the show. And we also have Jamie Antonello, who is another frequent and been along with the show for a few years now, another coach in terms of the SaberCats and also with high school football. And also we have Dustin Grondin, who is joining us tonight, who is kind of really using and abusing his vacation days on the show. You know, he comes on sporadically, but I guess that's what happens when you have a kid. But he's going to be joining us tonight. And we also have Justin Hykel, who is mostly on the Thursday edition of the Game Sports Show, but is going to be coming around more to the Wednesday edition, as he's going to be a part of In the Pocket this year as well. So he'll be here. So again, it's Jamie, Matt, Justin, Dustin, and yours truly tonight. That is a cast of 5. That is the most that we have had since 2016. And the last time we had a 2016 show, it was 3 hours long. I'm going to tell you right now, that is not what is happening tonight, as we do have time constraints now that we have to follow here on the Game Sports Show. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the fellas. I'm going to go to the first guy here, Matt Premo. Premo, I'm glad you're feeling better, buddy. I know you missed week 1 and the season opener of the NFL season with the Game Sports Show here on the Wednesday edition of the Game Sports Show. How you doing, my friend?
Good, glad to be back. It's been about a month since my last appearance on the show, but now that high school is in full swing as well as the NFL, I'm sure we're going to have lots to talk about. Looking forward to being back with the crew.
Now the one and only, somebody actually that started the In the Pocket segment at the upstairs of his house. It was myself and Justin Hykel at the upstairs of Dustin's house talking the In the Pocket segment that we actually I shouldn't say stole the name, but took the name from somebody who's a good friend of ours, Dan Fenton, that he gave us permission to use, now that we've taken it over completely. But been with the show for the last 3+ years. Good friend of mine. Recently had a child. He's been on the show since, but I should mention that he's really abusing that paternity leave for the past year. The Molson representative here in Sault Ste. Marie, good friend of mine, Dustin Grondin. Welcome back to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Well, as soon as I start getting paid for this, I'll stop taking pat leave. And as soon as Premo comes back, so I don't have to call offensive plays, that would be appreciated, which he's back now. And, this should be a pretty fiery show because we got a bone to pick with me and Jamie because he switched teams after last season. And me and Premo often disagree on things, so this should be a good time.
Definitely, and Dustin will know, and Jamie, that we're going old school right now with our recording. Usually we have a microphone that we record with, and we also have a new recording because the Game Sports Show, we went more official with getting some good products. However, we're going old school right now with our recording because of the cast that we have. We didn't want you to have any interrupted listening. So, especially with Dustin here, I want to make sure you get all of his. So we're going to be passing around the Relic recording product that we've been using. Pretty soon we'll actually have headsets, hopefully by year end, to use because it'll be great to use for round table discussions. But without further ado, the other guy who's been on the show with me basically since the start as well, representing Molson Canadian on his hat, representing the Cora Colts on his shirt. Can't see it, even though it's bad radio to say that. I got to throw a promotion out there for Molson and for Cora. One and only, Jamie Antonello. Jamie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I feel like I'm going to get ganged up on this podcast. I'm not really looking forward to that. I thought Dustin was going to finally be on my side forever, and it turns out I was completely wrong. But still looking forward to the show.
Glad that you're looking forward to it. I'm a Steeler fan, and we tied the Browns, so I'm very pretty upset about it. Nothing. I guess we're still undefeated, but still.
Browns starts in 2004.
Definitely, their 18-game losing streak was snapped. But we'll get to that when we do the recap in just a little bit. Now I'm going to go to the guy who is actually to my right here today, the one who's been around the show. He's been with me basically since the start as well. I was just telling Dustin right from the start that we did the show firstly from upstairs at his house. Was the first in the pocket segment. Now we're doing the
second floor, Dave.
The second floor. The second floor. I like the upstairs is better. And Dustin started the chirps, and we're only a total of 6 minutes into the podcast. I love it. And there's a lot more where that's coming from. But Justin, I'm glad you made it here, buddy. I know you had some touch football to play. How you doing?
I almost broke a sweat, so it was a tough night. Real tough night.
And we also have a fan in the background who I'm not going to put on the spot to put on, but the one and only Kyle Leonard, who's a part of us here. We actually lost baseball finals yesterday, but trust me, next year we're going to win it. That's just an early spoiler alert, just so you know ahead of time. But I want to say thanks to Kyle for coming here and enjoying some beers here with us and enjoying the time and the great time we have on the Game Sports Show. Kind of a different format than the usual introduction. We're going to save the sponsors and all the thanks for the end of the show. And we're going to get started right now, Jamie. And like I said, we're going to talk about local football. I'm going to allow yourself, Matt, and Dustin to really spearhead the local football scene here in Sault Ste. Marie. So, without further ado, you can do a football update for high school football. Last week was East-West. Week 1 just in the books. We're going into week 2. Give us an update and also give us a preview of this week.
Yeah, so week 1 in the books, like we talked about last week, right? It's still considered East-West, right? And we still get the big crowds out, but it is a regular season game now. It has been for the last couple years. So Cora took on White Pines in junior and senior, and Superior Heights took on St. Mary's. At the junior level, right, Cora, we were able to win our game versus White Pines 42-7. It was a good game, right? We were able to get a lot of guys playing. White Pines is looking more promising at the junior level than they have in the last couple years. So here's to hoping, right? They got some good athletes there, a couple guys that played summer football, and there's really starting to improve. In the other junior game, Superior Heights played St. Mary's, and St. Mary's won a nail-biter 8-7. Back and forth game. St. Mary's didn't even score a touchdown. They kicked 2 field goals and got a safety. Superior Heights scored a touchdown on a long bomb pass play. Receiver made a bunch of nice moves and was able to get in the end zone. And Superior Heights had a chance to win that game on about a 35-yard field goal at the end of the game. Unfortunately, they missed, but that seems to be a good battle moving forward. At the senior level, Cora took on White Pines again, and we're able to come out with the win there. Again, new look team, right? You're never sure at the senior level who you're going to get. and they beat White Pines pretty handily. White Pines has some pretty good athletes, right? They're just starting to figure out where they can play them, getting them in better spots. And in the other game, Superior Heights took on St. Mary's, and St. Mary's was able to win that game 29-14. Curious to see how Superior Heights turns it around, right? They lost a lot of guys from their defense, especially last year. A number of which that Matt and I coached in the summer for SaberCats. So
in their O-line, no?
Curious. Yeah, they lost some key contributors. So as far as the junior loop is concerned, I'll speak to that, and I'll let Matt and Dustin speak to the senior loop a little bit more. But Cora is taking on St. Mary's this week on Thursday. Should be a pretty good matchup, rematch of the city finals last year in junior. Actually, it's been the last 2 city finals in a row. And then Superior Heights is taking on White Pines, and that junior game between Cora and St. Mary's is 4:45 on Thursday. That's tomorrow. So that's Thursday, September 13th. And then White Pines is taking on Superior Heights Friday, the 14th at 4:45 as well. And all the games are doubleheaders, so expect the same matchup in senior afterwards. But I'm going to pass it over to Matt here just for a breakdown of what the senior loop looked like after week 1.
Saw you order that one.
Week 1, it was. I think it was a good week. I mean, obviously the White Pines Cora matchup was a little bit one-sided, but I got to take on a little bit of the St. Mary's Superior Heights game, and it was good for the most part. Close games. St. Mary's ended up pulling away. It's going to be a very competitive, tight loop, I believe, between the 3 teams: Cora, St. Mary's, and Superior Heights. And each week that those 3 teams play each other, I think it's going to be very competitive and very tight. Obviously, White Pines is in a difficult situation, low numbers, and they're going to struggle this year. But hopefully they can start turn that ship around, as that's my former high school. So it was a little bit bittersweet beating up on them last week, but I have all the hope in the world they get that thing turned around. As heading into week 2, we're going to be taking on Cora. I coach at Cora as well as Dustin and Jamie. We're taking on St. Mary's tomorrow night, 7:30. The senior game gets kicked off at Superior Heights Field. And I'm interested to see what St. Mary's has to offer. A lot of these kids I get to coach in the summer, and I know they have a lot of talent over there. And I'm very confident in the team that we're putting on the field at Cora. So I don't know if I'm getting paid double this year for having to OC and babysit Dustin, but I'm going to have to talk to the head coach about that. No, it's super pumped to get the game in tomorrow night and see where we stand in the senior loop. It'll be definitely a good measuring stick, and excited to hit the field tomorrow. You want to add anything, Dustin?
Yeah, if you want. You know what, all talent questions aside, both of us, all 3 of us, we know that whenever Cora plays St. Mary's in recent years, it's a really big moment of, you're going to get punched in the mouth, and how are you going to react to it, right? So this is a great test early on in the season for not only our team at Cora, but St. Mary's too. We're going to throw our punches each way, and it's a really good test for adversity. I'm sure things aren't going to go as scripted for either team, and it's how you bounce back, how you make those changes, how you learn from your prior mistakes, and this is a very big building block moving forward for not just our team at Cora, but both teams for St. Mary's as well, because ultimately there's going to be 3 good teams in our league. Not to discount White Pines, they're doing a great job with what they have there, but it's going to be a big measuring stick and a big building block for all teams, because we're going to see each other again, and this is just the first punch. So let's see how we react. Let's see how the kids react. And it's a maturity thing right now. We have a lot of young guys, so they're going to have to figure it out, and they're going to have to figure it out fast, or we'll be down quite a bit, and it's hard to dig out of that hole, right? So, a lot of young men, we don't really know what's going to happen, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad Dustin was listening when I was addressing the team today, so that's good. He did basically repeat everything I said.
I wasn't listening to you.
He usually doesn't listen. It depends who's talking. It depends who's talking. But if I want to ask you guys, being right on the sidelines and being a part of it, if you have any players you want to give some recognition to, shout out for a big game or anything like that within week 1. I'm sure there's some guys in mind. You could be biased with it if you have to be, if you need to be. That's totally fine. But I'm sure you were a part of the whole event. So any players you want to give a shout out to last week that had a good performance or just overall great impact on the games that were played. I'll start over with you, Preems.
Yeah, in the senior loop on the core side of things, I was impressed the way we actually spread the ball around. We had, I think we had 5 different guys score touchdowns. So I was impressed. Obviously, Gervaisi for core, he had a couple touchdowns. He's going to be very impressive this year. Big, strong kid, fast. Nick Gervaisi, yeah, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this season. We also had Bone Oliver get in the end zone. Mitch Dewar got in the end zone. And yeah, Breeken scored. Tyler Breeken scored a touchdown. Nice scored 11. Nice addition to the offense. Excited.
A lot of work.
You need a lot of work. No, we have a lot of talent on the offensive side. We have some guys that can really threaten the defense and make plays this year. So it's going to be exciting with calling the plays and finding creative ways to get these guys the ball. And maybe I'll even give Dustin a little bit of input every once in a while. And we'll see how things go. But yeah, as opposed to the other side of the ball, I think our defense, we have Jacob Jurich led our defense. He was an animal for us all summer with the SaberCats, and he was great again the first game of the season, as well as AK Aaron Karanen. He's improved a tremendous amount. He's going to be one guy to watch on the defensive side of the ball this year. As for St. Mary's, looking to them, they have some very good weapons. Pagnata coming up from the junior team. He's great. He's dynamic, really fast, very impressive. Had a great season this summer on the JV SaberCats, and already had a good game week 1 for St. Mary's. He's gonna be a guy we have to key on and try and stop him. They also got Parker St. Ange, another guy can run the ball, good hard runner. Travis Johnson, good receiver. And then B. Mitch, it's transferred from Cora to St. Mary's, and he's running the quarterback position for them. So it should be an interesting game. I think teams match up well against each other, and we'll see. I think it's going to be a tight one.
If it's okay, Jamie, I know you're probably anxious to talk. I'm going to slide over to guy to Maddie's left, Dustin. Okay, I'm going to let you kind of attest to some additional kind of maybe players that stood out to you, or kind of any kind of big notes from week 1 on your end.
Yeah, I mean, I had one guy in mind, and he wasn't on my side of the football, but AK Kernahan, one of the Kernahan brothers. Shout out to Bernetti. Honestly, AK he's not the flashiest, strongest, most scary kid on the field, but I'm telling you, you want to talk about a linebacker who always makes the right read, who will give the biggest lick on the biggest guy. I think a play stands out to me where Southwind was running a dive, and he breaks through the front line, and then I hear a big smash of the pads, and I look up, and it's Kiernan getting up after tackling Southwind, and that's like I mean, I don't know. If you ever seen a pit bull fight a chihuahua, and so, and I love it. Like, the kid is heads on his shoulders, making the right reads, and he's not afraid of anything, and he makes a ton of great plays for us, and I cannot wait to watch him all year round. And we talk a lot about offense because we're offensive guys, but AK, what a game. I can't wait to see what's next.
Jamie, you can go now. You're allowed to go.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to add on. I mean, I know a couple other guys from Spear Heights. Joe Rosso, who Matt and I coached in the summer, he's an outstanding kid in his 5th-year linebacker, Spear Heights. I think he had 15 tackles in the first game, which is unbelievable. Leads the league by far, and Aaron Kiernan's not far behind him with 9. And then a couple other guys that stood out. I mean, Rob Wright, I think, led Superior Heights in receiving, had a bunch of catches. He plays for us in the summer as well. And then I'm curious to see what St. Mary's D-line and offensive line is going to look like. They got some big guys there that have a lot of football experience. Zach Tadashore, Hunter Lambert-Musso, Matt Wheaton, right? They got some guys there that can really play. And Dylan Monaco is in his first year, should have been senior. He got called up last year as a grade 10, right? And Julian Joya, right? They got some real players there. As far as the junior loop, right? Aaron Kiernan's little brother, Nathan Kiernan, plays for me in junior. I'm the head coach of the junior team at Cora. And I'm curious to see what the loop's going to look like. I mean, White Pines Junior has some bodies there. Connor Ritchie at running back, right? He's looking really good. Andy Beath, who actually went to Cass, played SaberCats, and transferred into White Pines to be able to play high school football. Both of those guys were outstanding in game 1, and I'm going to see them just only improving. Spear Heights and St. Mary's have 2 really good guys at quarterback. Evan Johnson for Superior Heights, and Roman Vecchio for St. Mary's. So I'm really curious to see what those guys can put together on the field. Both of them threw the ball exceptionally well in their first game. And we're just going to have to wait and see, right, as more guys emerge. Guys that, unfortunately, Matt and I, right, we have a great experience with the guys that play SaberCats in the summer. We don't know a ton of the other guys outside of Cora, so hoping more guys emerge, and as we see, and hoping for a really good season. We're looking forward to week 2.
Good stuff, fellas. The Game Sports Show, home to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, and obviously being we're going to be the main news reporting for the local football scene for the remainder of the season. Obviously, it's Dave McCaig alongside Matt Premo, Dustin Grondin, Jamie Antonello, and Justin Hykel. Obviously, Justin and I took a little bit of a back seat to the big three here in the Sioux, who obviously with the local football have the big ties. Listen to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website www.thegamesportshow.com. Now, fellas, we talked about the local side of things. We're going to jump into week 1 preview and discussion. Now, what I am going to do is I'm probably going to break up this week 1 into after the break. We're 20 minutes into the broadcast. We're going to take a little break. We're going to sip on our Molson products, have some pizza wings, have whatever. And when we come back from break, we're going to talk about week 1 of the National Football League. And let me tell you, week 1 was an absolute surpriser to me. A lot of things that happened in week 1 was a big surpriser to me. Now, I know we had it planned that we were going to talk about week 1 in this, but hey, it's the way it goes sometimes. We're just going to take a little split. You're going to hear from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back to talk about week 1 here on The Game.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the 2nd year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
Hi, it's Craig Hartsburg, former NHL player and NHL coach. Welcome to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website, thegamesportshow.com. I'm alongside Matt Premo, Dustin Grondin, Jamie Antonello, and Justin Hykel. And we're here for the Wednesday edition of the Game Sports Show live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill for their famous wing night, 75-cent wings. And like I said at the top of the show, make sure you come out for Sunday game day. The draw is you have a chance to win 4 tickets for a chance to sit in the Miller Lite Tap Room at Ford Field for a chance to win tickets. The next draw will be for the Lions and the Packers. Now, without further ado, fellas, we got some week 1 to discuss right now, okay? And before we even jump into week 1, people that switch teams, Premo, do we jump? We're not jumping into that now. We're not going to jump into that right now. We're going to talk about people who switch teams a bit later. I know we've had that talk a bit ago on the show in the summer, but you know what? We'll save that for a little bit. I like to say the games that happened in week 1, I like to say they're a surprise. It was definitely surprising week 1, especially if you're a Steeler fan tying the Browns, which is an absolute joke. I almost vomited on my living room floor. Not even kidding.
The Ravens 47-3. I didn't think the Bills were that atrocious in terms right now on the field at their talent level. I'm just being flat out right now. Even if you want to go the route of the Bears making it, in the Packers game, look what happened at the end there, right? Everything big surprise. So Rodgers out and battling, and then even the Redskins 24-6. Adrian Peterson, the guy looking like he's in top form right now. The guy looks like he's on the Minnesota Vikings of 2013 right now, before all the incidences, but we won't jump into that right now. That's not appropriate to jump into. I'm getting a lot of eye looks for saying that. I won't jump into that really too much. The Vikings and Niners game. Preems, I know you're at that game. Definitely I like the game. I think it was a very entertaining game. Even the Dolphins. I did like that. Did you like that, Dustin? Did you like that problem? Now, did you like the Saints game by chance? I will get to that in just a few moments. So we're going to go to the Week 1 discussion. Bad radio content to get punched in the face. I think we were discussing that. Now, okay, what we're going to do, because I'll do a quick recap of the scores for Week 1, and then we're all going to pick a certain game, okay, and we're going to discuss it. We don't have the time on the show to talk about every single game, so we're just going to pick some games, and we're going to go with the flow of the conversation. It's always the best way to go. So let's start with the first game that opened the NFL season, where myself and Jamie were wrong to him own Dustin Grondin, which absolutely pisses me off. The Philadelphia Eagles loses to the Falcons 18-12. Let me tell you, Dane Hanshow's not too happy right now over in Red Lake. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Niners 24-16. The Dolphins defeated the Titans 27-20. The Texans lose to the Patriots. The Patriots still looking pretty fine. Deshaun Watson didn't look too fine, but 27-20 for the Patriots. Jacksonville defeats Matt Premo's New York Giants 20-15. The Cincinnati Bengals defeat Justin Hykel's Indianapolis Colts 34-23. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, formerly known as Jamie Antonello's team, defeat 48-40 against Dustin Grondin's and newly Jamie Antonello's team, the New Orleans Saints. The team that probably nobody really cheers for that should move to Toronto ASAP, the Buffalo Bills, lose to the Baltimore Ravens 47-3. And yeah, yours truly's favorite team, the Steelers, tie. Jesus Christ. The Cleveland Browns 21-20. The Kansas City Chiefs, I thought this was a surprise, defeat the new Los Angeles Angels, 38-28. Chargers. I said the Angels. Thank you. I said Angels. I'm just thinking baseball. Is Mike Trout? He actually probably be better. No, actually, no. No, actually, I don't know if you. No, he's good. Phillip Rivers is good. I take that back. But no, the Kansas City Chiefs winning 38-28 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Let me correct myself, okay? The Washington Redskins defeat the Cardinals 24-6. The Dallas Cowboys lose to the Carolina Panthers 16-8. Very low-scoring game. The Denver Broncos defeat the Seattle Seahawks 24-27. The Packers defeat the Bears 24-23 in a very entertaining game. Might be the most entertaining game of Week 1. Then Monday Night Football. Yikes! If you're a Lions fan, that was a disaster to watch. New York Jets defeat the Lions 48-17. And then the Los Angeles Rams defeat the Raiders 33-13. And all the people, including yours truly and some other people, figured that the Raiders will turn it around this year. Not looking like it at all. So that's the recap of Week 1, fellas. I'm going to let the guy who came off paternity leave to be here tonight talk about the game that he wants to talk about most. I think I know what game he's going to pick, and you're allowed to lead with that if you want to go with the Raider game. And then after that, Dustin, I'll go over to Justin, because Justin hasn't had any airtime in the past 23 minutes. So I'll go over to Dustin to start us off here, but our Week 1 reaction.
All right, so the game I'm going to talk about is obviously the Steelers versus the Browns.
Oh, you took my thunder.
Now, if anybody's surprised at the fact that the Steelers played down to the Browns level, which isn't down this year, it's actually up this year, right? A tie in inclement weather where your sans, which is French for without, Le'Veon Bell, right? It's a ton of outside distractions, and at that level you can say, yes, they're professionals, but like these guys care about each other, right? So there's tons of distractions, inclement weather, which takes away your most dangerous weapon, which is Antonio Brown. They're playing in Cleveland, and last year they only won on like a last minute, if I can recall, touchdown to beat Cleveland by 7 points, I think it was. And it's classic
Pittsburgh Steelers, typically in the Super Bowl contention, group or tier of teams, and you're missing Le'Veon Bell. The biggest thing you're missing is Ryan Shazier with speed and coverage and tackling and leadership in the middle linebacker position, right? Like they're almost doing in my opinion, a half-team rebuild, because you have a core player like Ryan Shazier that you're building around, and all of a sudden, in a freak accident, that player's taken from you. Like it's an on-the-fly rebuild, like a Detroit Red Wing circa early 2000s through mid-2000s, right? So, there's a lot of moving pieces going on to the Steeler game, but everyone's going, oh my God, the Steelers are supposed to be this team, but the Steelers are exactly who we thought they were. Everybody get it? Right? But that's who the Steelers have been since they've had the killer bees, right? The Steelers always played down to the level of their opponents or up to the level of opponents, but Cleveland is not a bad team. And in that weather, if you look at it, Myles Garrett had an unbelievable game. And then you turn around and T.J. Watt had an unbelievable game. So obviously the weather was in favor of defense, and you're missing. And James Conner filled in really well. But the bottom line is there was missed field goals, a blocked field goal, and it's just a ridiculous game that ended up in a tie. Neither team deserved to win. Neither team deserved to lose. And it did not surprise me that this was a football game.
Boom. That's why I went over to you first, the energy. I actually thought you were going to go with the Saints game, to be honest with you. I'm surprised you didn't go that route as you wear your Saints football hoodie right now. Justin, well, I got to get some of your voice on the show now. It's been about 25 to 30 minutes since you've said a word. So I want you to pick a game that you want to talk about. I think I know the direction you're going, being a Colts fan, or maybe you don't want to relive that in your memory. But I'll give you the floor, sir.
You know what?
Go ahead, Mike.
But the Colts game wasn't even that terrible. In compared to last year, I mean, we had a substantially... Well, I can't say that. I'm not saying that out loud. That was almost the beer talk in there. Well, no, and you know what? I figured...
Luck actually threw a pass in the game.
He looked pretty... He looked pretty solid for a guy that threw 55 passes in a game on a shoulder that wasn't totally... Yeah, he's... Put on a little bit of muscle there. Well, I figured Ebron was going to be the tight end to blow it for us. Honestly, with his track record in Detroit there, I thought that's the way it was going. But no, the trusty, stable Jack Doyle has to do the old fumble Ruski, and there it is. No, I don't know. There were some positives there. Luck looked pretty confident. Through the game. Well, he stayed upright, except for that one where he got torpedoed and the guy got tossed.
Did he say good hit to him?
I'm not sure. I've been watching NFL. Well, I've been watching NFL Network all week to see. But I mean, if a guy's getting tossed for hitting Andrew Luck helmet to helmet, you're gonna get 25 to life for hitting Tom Brady this year. That's the way that's gonna go.
It's a capital punishment.
Well, yeah, like they're calling hits on Andrew Luck, so. I don't know.
Tell Tony Romo that in the new Corona commercial.
Yeah. All seriousness, I don't know. There were a couple positives in that Colts game. Our defense is still rough. It's going to be what it's going to be. The secondary was so-so. We got a couple second-year guys in there. But the biggest thing I took away from that is that Andrew Luck looked comfortable. The offensive line didn't look terrible. Quentin Nelson looked to hold his own against Cincinnati's pass rush, which they've invested heavily in. Yeah. So, that wasn't too bad. But looking forward to Washington this week. That's
Denzel Ward.
Definitely good to see Andrew Luck back in the game. A couple of good quarterback, and the Colts had trusted him to be, to come into the Colts organization and get everything into the way. And then all the fans and having him not play is definitely a big loss to not only the Colts but to the NFL as well. So it's good to see him back in. I'm going to go I was actually rude to Jamie last time, Matt, by making him go last. So I like to say I'm saving the best for last with that reaction, but I'm going to go last. So I'm the best for last. But the jokes aside, Jamie, I'm going to let you go third here on the floor to talk about a game that you want to pick, react about, swear about, within limits. Please pick the game I want you to pick that hasn't been discussed yet.
Oh, no way I'm touching that, man. Are you kidding? Yeah. I do. That is curious, but I'm going to pick the Lions and Jets game. For about 2 minutes, Lions fans were like, yes, we're going to win. Pick 6 to start the game, and then Sam Darnold settled in. I think he started to figure it out. Robbie Anderson is apparently a very good wide receiver. Didn't really know that. Starting to figure it out, but
Quincy Enunwa, that guy did tons of damage. Robbie Anderson caught that bomb, but like everyone knows, the guy can sprint like a 4.3 flat. But Enunwa too was like picked up before he got hurt, and keep going because that Jets game was something to behold from a rookie quarterback, right?
Yeah, Sam looked super comfortable. I think there's a reason why. I mean, the Jets, I think, were super happy when Cleveland passed on them.
I know.
And I think everybody kind of knew that the Giants were going to pass on him. You have to take Saquon at that pick. And if you're a New York fan, like, you got to be pumped that he was there, and he proved it. And that, I mean, the Jets defense has come out this week saying they kind of knew all of Stafford's signals. They knew all his audibles. And, I mean, you can't say hard to argue. They had 4 picks and limited them to 17 points.
I'd check into that.
Yeah, a little bit of Spygate going on, circa 2007. But 48 points, Lions fans, hopefully they can figure it out. I mean, Matt Patricia's, he's a defensive coach. Hopefully they can settle in. You've seen a couple New England teams in the past that he coordinated, right, really struggle early in the season, and they've gone on to Super Bowls. And the Lions are far from being that New England Patriot team, but I think they're going to settle out. I mean, Matt Stafford is hopefully going to figure it out a little bit, but I mean, I'm not hopeful, Lions fans, but it's a long season.
What about all the reports? So here's what I've heard: all the reports about veterans not liking Patricia's way. The Patriots' way isn't the Lions' way. You're a head coach. Matt's a head coach. You know, if you're an organization and you have to make your pick, do you side with the players or did you decide with the coach that you go to, right? If the players don't fit the mold of the Patriot way here in Detroit, do you put Patricia on a short leash, or do you say, listen, this is our guy, and the guys who don't, like the quote-unquote Patriot way, well, you know what? Patricia's got 6 years or 7 years. You know what? We're going to wipe the slate clean, and we're going to go with guys who fit the quote-unquote Patriot way. Because obviously the Detroit franchise wasn't ran like the Pats franchise, and now they don't like it. They don't like working. I'm hearing things like doing cardio after practices and veterans not getting weeks off, and it's essentially holding people accountable and working harder for the next step. But it obviously fell apart. Where are you going? Are you a player's guy or are you a coach's guy? If you're the owner / president or whatever of the Detroit Lions, who's your pick?
Yeah, you take it.
So I'll take this one. I'm a win football games guy, so I'm not either. If you're the ownership, you allow this guy to build his team. He's the head coach. If you think he's the one that's going to take you to the next level, and that's a competitive division this year. Like, I think that one's up in the air. I mean, right now it looks like Detroit's the odd team out, but Minnesota looks good. Chicago and the Packers look good, so it's going to be a tough division. But you give this time the opportunity to build his team his way, right? These guys may not fit his mold.
So you're a coach guy.
I'm a coach guy, but also, like,
in this instance.
In this instance, yeah. I mean, if you brought this guy in because you think he's going to be the one to bring the team, let him build his team. Okay. Let him bring in the players that he thinks fits the mold. Let him do what he's got to do. If they don't react to that, 6 years, I don't know if you give him 6 years to develop that team. You can turn over an NFL roster pretty quickly nowadays. Like, you see the Browns, I think they over half their roster was turned over from last year. You can turn over a roster quickly in the NFL. It's not something that takes a long time, so you can do it quickly. So you give him the time to try and build it. It's not going to happen in 1 year, but maybe you give him 3-4 years, see what he can do. If at that point it's not working and they're not responding to his way, and then you got to look at changing the coach. And I think it is a little bit different. I mean, players are a little bit different now. don't like to be told what to do. I mean, these guys, they take care of themselves pretty well nowadays. They train all offseason. They do all this stuff. They don't need to be pushed to the limit in practice. These guys put their bodies on the line for 16 weeks of the season, and it takes a week to recover. That's why you only play once a week. So to push their bar extra hard, these guys are professionals. They know their craft. So I don't know if I get that point of it, but I'm also I'm on the player side as well, because these guys do their work in the offseason. They put in the work, and they are professionals. So there should be a little bit of give and take there. I consider myself more of a player coach. I understand when to push and when to lay off. I don't think it should be push all the time. But you give him the opportunity to build his team.
You got something? I just want to find out, because, yes, players are potentially more knowledgeable nowadays, better with their body, this, that, and the other thing. But what doesn't change is the fact that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl every year with a rotating roster. And I think we can all agree, outside of quarterback and tight end, they're defunct of talent in a lot of places in comparison to the Steelers, the Saints, you name these big teams, right? Minnesota Vikings, so I don't know. I personally don't know where the line is drawn between what players know and what coaches make them, and where that line crosses. I know what you're saying. Maybe you have a better answer than me. I don't really know. But my question, you said, players know more. Players are in tune with their body. Players know this. Players know that. But then why is it that the Patriots do it so well?
And this is going to pain me to say it, because I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but they got the best, man. They got the best quarterback. And that's what a lot of it comes down to.
New Orleans does?
Yeah, and look, they're a good team usually every year too. How many times have they missed the playoffs since they've had Drew Brees?
Lots.
How many?
2?
Good fan. They've missed it 2 seasons since they've had him there.
I try. I'm like a finely tuned golfer. I forget the bad shots and I just remember the good ones.
Good answer. No, I think that has a lot to do with it. Obviously, Belichick's an unreal football mind. His game planning, his scheming is. They don't go into every week with the same game plan. It changes from week to week. I think that's where they differ from other teams, is their game planning and their preparation. I don't know if it's because they ran an extra 20 wind sprints. I don't think you get better at football because you ran an extra 20 wind sprints at the end of practice. I don't think that matters. So to say that that's why they're better is because they push them harder and they do this, and that has nothing to do with it. They may scheme harder. They may put more time in the classroom and watching film and understanding their opponent. Yeah, that is. But I don't think running an extra wind sprint or catching an extra 20 passes at the end of practice makes the difference. Yeah, everyone says the small things count, but like I said, these guys are the best of the best.
Is it about the wind sprint, though, or is it about the buying into the fact that you're putting in the extra time? Is it team before me?
Oh, it has to be team before you. It has to be team before you.
Is it that way in the NFL right now?
No, it has to be. Obviously, the tightest unit's going to win. That's any sport, regardless. Whatever sport you play in, not always the most talent wins. It's the tightest unit and the most character, and you see that in every sport. So, that's.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Short and sweet here. What Matt said, it comes down to wins. The Patriot way is the Patriot way because they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years within the first couple years of Bill Belichick taking over that team. That's a big part of it. Let's be real. Tom Brady was 6th-round draft pick. All right, Bledsoe goes down. You're like, oh no, the season's done. We're toast. And then superstar emerges. Belichick, you've seen the preparation, right? He was able to build a really good defense. Young quarterback stepped up. All right. Are the Lions at that same point? No. All right. Will Patricia potentially draft some guys, right? I'm sure if Patricia has his way and the ownership lets him do it, they're going to draft some defensive guys, get that team really going. He's going to prepare those guys the right way. I will say this, though. Josh McDaniels, when he was the head coach in Denver, same thing. He tried to implement the Patriot way in Denver. The ownership was not behind him, and he didn't win. He did well enough. He beat the Pats. I'll give him that. But he didn't win, and he didn't have a quarterback. What do you have, Kyle Orton playing quarterback?
Smokin' Jay.
Smokin' Jay was there at that point, too. I love Smokin' Jay, but the ownership was not behind him. We'll have to see, all right, if Detroit is behind him. If they are, Patricia's got a chance. I still think he's a fantastic coach no matter what happens to him, but remains to be seen.
Jay Cutler for president.
Now that's good stuff, fellas. I like that debate. I like that. Preems, I'm going to give you the floor right now for a game you want to pick quick and chat about.
I'll chime in. I'll chime in quick. Yeah, I was able to go catch the Vikings Niners game on Sunday. If anyone ever gets a chance to go catch a game at the U.S. Bank Stadium, it's an unreal experience. Brand new, state of the art, great place to catch a game. We had great seats in the end zone. I had an awesome time. So definitely get the chance to make that 8-9 hour drive down to Minneapolis. Go check it out. It's a great atmosphere. Everyone doing the Skol chant. It was quite. It was one of the better experiences I've had in an NFL stadium. I've been to a couple of them now, and that's one of the better ones. Not a fan of either team, but had a great time. The game was a little foggy, a couple too many Miller Lights, but we had a great time. Everyone's looking at Jimmy G, what he's going to do, goes out and throws 3 picks, and basically that was the difference in the game, right? Those turnovers.
That's a good defense, though.
The Vikings are an unreal defense. He's
an excited young guy, right? He's the first time getting a quarterback start, right?
Yeah, no, and the atmosphere season opener, I think, made it got to him a bit, and that's a good defense. There's a lot of talent in that secondary for the Vikings, but then you look at the other side, Kirk Cousins had a great debut for the Vikings, dropped that nice dime to Diggs right in the end zone. We were sitting in that end zone, saw the pass go in. It was beautiful. It was great. Like I said, the NFC North is going to be a great division, I think. My bet right now is the Vikings to run away with that division. Not run away, but in the end of the season when it comes down to, I think they're going to be at the top of the division. I think it's going to be close, so I think the Bears are going to surprise people and be right there at the end as well.
Not the Packers?
No, I think the Packers and the Vikings are the top 2, but the Bears...
You can't just say 3 teams are going to be there at the end.
3 teams make the playoffs all the time.
Yeah.
It always happens.
Don't talk to me.
There could be 2 wild cards. I think the top 2 teams are the Packers and the Vikings, but I think the Bears have a chance to be a contender.
Who's your pick to win the division?
I already said the Vikings are my pick. If you listen.
I don't.
He's not wrong. He did say it.
I just want to double down.
Well, you want to wager right now? Vikings win the NFC North?
No. What are we wagering?
Friendly bet.
Okay. I'll pick Packers.
$100.
A-Rod. Jeez. All right.
Okay, we just shook on it. It's good. It's confirmed. But yeah, so I think it was a great opening weekend. Other than that Thursday night snoozer, there were a lot of exciting games. I got to wake up for my Vikings game hangover and catch the second half of the Packers-Bears game, and I'm glad I did because it was pretty exciting. So a great opening weekend. Looking forward to week 2.
That's actually kind of a great lead up because that's the game that I'm diving into. Is definitely, I think, the most obvious. I want to say the most exciting game of the week. I do want to go to that point, and I'll keep it short and sweet here, fellas. And the Packers getting away with the win. The Bears were up 20-0 at one point going to the third quarter. Okay, you have perfect movie scenario.
Had more touchdowns than Derek Carr.
Well, Khalil Mack was just, I think, had a great debut. Was unstoppable in that first half. Oh yeah, he was a star backer, right? So he was proving himself there. But what kind of a movie kind of setting was this? Roger gets hurt. Rodgers comes back with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left on the clock. Aaron Rodgers gets a pass to Cobb to get the win, and then obviously the Packers go ahead with a 24-23 lead. Now, Rodgers just defining how good of a football player that he is and how good he is for the National Football League. Without him, like Jamie said on the way here, this isn't my words taking this, it's going to be said more perfectly. Without Aaron Rodgers in the National Football League, it's not as exciting.
False.
And it's a lot worse of a league when he doesn't play. And I do agree. And the Bears, though, I couldn't agree more with you, Preems. The Bears are looking good. The Bears are looking good. And Khalil Mack, he's looking good in that Bears jersey, is Khalil Mack right now. And you know what? Rodgers right now is looking great at his age, 34 years young. The guy is in top shape still. I know he was injured, but you know what? It seems like it's not a serious injury. His status this week is that it remains to be questionable. He'll play.
Mark my words. It's against the Vikings.
It's definitely a game that he should not miss. Divisional game, will play, but I agree. I do agree with that, Dustin, that it will be Rodgers that will not miss that game unless you have to cart him off the field. That's the only way that guy's not playing. He's all heart, and I love seeing that. The guy comes out injured and throws a bomb to win the game. good for the Green Bay Packers. And I'll keep it short there by saying, just giving a shout out to Rogers and to Khalil Mack. And just the Bears in general. The Bears played a good football game, and they should not hang their heads low for that. They had a good game in general, and the Bears are for real this year. Mark that right now. Dave McCaig alongside Matt Premo, Dustin Grondin, Jamie Antonello, Justin Hykel. Justin, you still sipping on the beers, bud?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
He's still awake. That's a good thing. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportsshow.podbean.com and on the website, thegamesportsshow.com. And we're enjoying some Molson products and some food and a great atmosphere at Sports Center. And I must give a shout out. Before I let Dustin conclude this segment, because I'll let you talk about that. I'm going to give a shout out to the Game Blonde Ale that's going to be available for purchase. And it's going to be released at the end of September, available for purchase at the first week of October. The proceeds go towards, we're going to be giving money towards charity, also obviously Northern Superior, but also the Game Sports Show. We have in a location and a studio by the end of 2019 where that money is going to go towards as well. And also, it might even go towards the panel and cast members a little cut as well. But Dustin, I know you wanted to conclude a little bit with the Saints and Bucks. I'm not letting this go without the Bucks and Saints. And when we come back from break, we're going to have a roundtable topic. I know the first topic we're bringing to the table was switching teams, so little spoiler. But I'll let you talk about the Saints and Bucks before we go to breaks. I know we talked about the Lions and the Jets game, more so on the Jets side of things. But so we won't have the Lions listeners. I don't know if you really want to talk about the Lions last week. So I'll let you take it away, Dust. Saints and Bucks.
I knew this wasn't going to get through the hot topics here without myself and probably Jamie saying something. Listen, no one was more dejected than me on a Sunday afternoon. I was playing golf in a tournament. It was beautiful out. I had gambled a little bit of money that Alvin Kamara was going to get 2 or more touchdowns, and I've never been more disappointed in winning $450 in my life because pre-season, I expected the Saints to be in the top 3 Super Bowl favorites. I'm talking Minnesota.
Steelers.
No, I'm not even putting the Steelers up there. There's something that I don't believe in. It's probably because I believe in the Pats more, the Patriots, and probably Philly to double down. And I'm talking 3 teams that. I think if the Minnesota Miracle didn't happen, the Philly Saints game would have been a lot different. I'm not even going to go back to that, but I've never felt more disappointed in my life since the Minnesota Miracle than day friggin' 1 of the Saints season, where our defense, which is now introducing our stellar rookie class, and I'm doing air quotes, with Williams at safety and Von Bell, who's a 4th-year or 3rd-year safety, and Marshawn Lattimore, who can I'm also doing air quotes, lock down number 1 receivers Mike Evans, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, or one, locked down, quote unquote locked down, and we put up 40 points, 40 points. Drew Brees threw 82%. 82% on 45 throws for, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go 339 and 4.
Oh, it was over 400.
I'll get you there. You keep going. You're good.
I'm going to go 339. Was it 4?
It was over 400.
439? Yeah, 439. 439 and 4. I'm going to go 439 and 4. 1 to Mike Thomas, 2 to Kamara, 1 to Ted Ginn. I'm going to go 439 and 4. 439 and 3 with 1 sack. All right. Oh man, that is premier quarterbacking. Drew Brees, 82% on 45 throws, trying to drag the dead carcass that is the Saints defense that day to the end zone. And all we did was let Ryan Fitzpatrick convert a 3rd and 14 on a quarterback run. I don't know if anybody's seen Ryan Fitzpatrick run, but I could probably make the tackle.
Make the tackle.
I could make the tackle.
Within 14 yards. I was devastated, and then I took a step back and went, you know what? Robinson in the slot is new. These guys are trying not to make the same mistakes that happened in the Minnesota game. Demario Davis is new. Our pass rush, I was really impressed with Davenport's motor. He was the only guy who was really working it. Cam Jordan will come on, and if you're not pressuring the quarterback, the secondary suffers, right? Everybody knows this. And we're historically slow starters. We've been 0-2 and 0-3 as far as I can remember. So, as devastating as it is to lose to the second worst team in football next to the Buffalo Bills, count it, in a division game where the Falcons lost already, which is more important because we could have had a game up on our division. Carolina won.
Barely.
I still have a ton of hope that this team will do what it always does and turn it on after losses. I do not want to go 0-2 to the Browns. I do not want to go 0-2 to the Browns, and I don't want to go 0-2 to the Browns, but there is hope because we have the talent, and we've been here before coming off of losses, devastating losses, and we have a top 5 all-time QB in Drew Brees, and he will carry whatever average defense it takes to get to the finish line. Anybody?
Do you want to go 0-2 to the Browns?
Only if Baker Mayfield plays.
How does it feel to lose to the misfits of the NFL? Was it 2013 out there? Ryan Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Jackson tore you guys apart.
It's the miracle. I don't even know. I can't even think about it.
9 times.
You know what, man? Honestly, it was like the perfect storm of expectations versus a total meltdown on one side of the ball. Coverages were so bad, it hurt. They weren't even close. There's some times where Josh Gordon made that play to force it to overtime. That's tight coverage. Antonio Brown makes that catch, tight coverage. Deshaun Jackson had a picnic in between his route run, his cut, and his catching a touchdown, and we weren't even close. Matter of fact, if I backpedaled, I would be closer than some of our DBs in the Evans and the Deshaun Jackson. These guys aren't jokes, but also Lattimore is not a joke either. The guy came off of Rookie of the Year, and I felt like there was a hunger with the team, and then we do that. Is it mounting pressure? Is it trying to shake off yesteryear? Is it, sophomore slump? Is it one game? What is it?
I don't know. I think they may have overlooked their opponent. Like you talked about Pittsburgh playing down to their opponent. I think I had Tampa Bay pegged as one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. Maybe I'm just absolutely out to lunch.
Me too.
So
Jets.
Giants, they're not the Bills.
Whoa.
I did.
Hey, Giants look decent in week 1. Give them a chance. That was a good defense they played. Saquon put up 100. We'll talk about week 2, and we pound the Cowboys.
When we get to week 2 talk.
We're going to hammer the Cowboys week 2. Yeah, a tough day to be a Saints fan, for sure.
Where did you think this preseason, where did you expect the Saints to be? Top 4 team?
I would say that they win their division. I would have picked
conference final, or are they a Super Bowl?
I think they take a step back this year, but I think they're the best in their division. But I could be wrong too. Maybe the Bucs are. I don't know.
I like that. Little extended time on that, but I like that. We're gonna have a quick break when we come back. It's going to be week 2 discussion. Then after that, we'll have a round table. We have some few topics to discuss. So we're going to be a quick break here. When we come back, it'll be a quick chat about week 2 before we come back with our round table. So Justin, alongside Dustin, alongside Matt, alongside Jamie, alongside yours truly here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Game Sports Show.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsioux.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Check out our brand new website up and running now at thegamesportshow.com. There you can find past broadcasts of all our shows from the Wicked Sister in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and Boston Pizza and Sportscenter Bar and Grill in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. As well, you can find our brand new t-shirts available for just $25 a shirt. All sizes are available and proceeds will go towards Northern Critters in Need and Big Brother, Big Sister of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Now you can purchase the shirt by emailing thegamesportshowssm@gmail.com. Please state the total amount of shirts and size needed. They have payment options available, e-transfer, or cash upon delivery, as a shirt can be delivered to your location if you live in the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and Ontario area free of charge. TheGameSportsShow.com, where you find all your local, regional, and national sports that you just can't get enough of.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Play Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a Northern thing.
Hi, I'm Brendan Brooks, professional hockey player. You're listening to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, alongside Matt Premo, Dustin Grondin, Jamie Antonello, and Justin Hykel. And I think there's some listeners out there maybe wondering why I said Core Colts before I went to commercial. Well, to wrap up the In the Pocket segment, I just felt like saying Core Colts because, you know, with our In the Pocket segment, we're going to be working lots of the local football scene. So I'm excited to bring in a lot of guys like Mr. Annett and a lot of the football guys to our round table. We already have a big cast here. But the reason why I say the Core Colts was, you know, good shout out to Mr. Annett and also to the staff there, and hopefully to have them on in the very near future. That's what I wanted to bring up. And guess what? I made you listen continuously further, so that's the way it goes here, hook, line, and sinker. Moving on, fellas, some topics. We're just going to bring some random topics. We can't do 5 topics based on the time, and if I did say that earlier in the show, I know producer Gross will let me know if I did. I apologize. We've only got a couple topics we're going to bring to the table tonight because we did invade. We have 4 parts to the show. We had lots to talk about in this action-packed crew that we have, so I'm going to state the topics based on what we've discussed. It isn't me that chose them all. And we're just going to bring up the hot ones that go around the football world or the hockey world or basketball world, tennis world, golf world, if you want to talk about Dustin Johnson cheating on Paulina Gretzky, you can bring that up. You know what? Maybe we can bring he allegedly cheated on Paulina Gretzky. We can bring that up in a little bit. So let's get started here. I want to start off. We'll start off with right off the hop with changing football teams. Okay, we'll start with that because it's going to be the one that we're talking about the most. I don't want to say the best or last. I want to do the right off the hops, start with it. And I'm not going to start because I know someone else is a little bit more heated with it because you didn't have the chance to talk about it when we did talk about it in the show, because that show that we had was me and Jamie.
Oh, no.
And Justin. Yeah. And Dustin was there too? I get confirmation. I don't think Dustin was there.
No, we had a team meeting.
Oh, we did? Okay. Your ass still hurts. I'm sorry about that. Use KY next time. Moving on. Preems, lash out, my man. I think I'm going to kiss you for what you're going to say, so cover your lips.
If I was Dustin, I'd be so angry at Jamie for that week 1 loss. It's karma. You can't cheer for the same team for 25 years and then decide you're just going to switch teams. And now, it might partly be Dustin's fault. Whoa! Because I think he convinced Jamie to switch teams. I think he convinced him that Tampa Bay was so bad that he had to switch teams. So I think partially it's Dustin's fault for convincing Jamie to switch teams, but Jamie, come on. You can't cheer for a team for that long and then switch. That goes against what all sports fans stand for. Like, I mean, look at these Cleveland Brown fans. They've been through the toughest of times, and they stick it out. You got to be loyal to your team, man, and I think it was just karma coming to bite you in the ass there. Your old team comes back, beats your new team. I love to see it. I know Dustin doesn't. He's can't be happy. At least he has somewhere to throw his blame. I think that's yeah. You can throw it towards Jamie's way, but maybe the Saints just aren't that good.
Oh, you idiot! You idiot! You piece of trash. He's a Giants fan, everyone. He's stupid. Anyways, I'm going to defend Jamie.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because I feel like it.
Yeah, get ready for a backhand.
This is no backhanded. Here's what happened. Jamie became a head coach, and in the years he was struggling because as a head coach he saw all the dysfunction in the Tampa Bay, and they move forward and they get Jameis Winston, who's stealing crab legs and groping other legs and all sorts of other stuff. Right, and Jamie's going, you know what, as a head coach, I'm tired of the garbage. I want to go with the team who's also in the division, who boasts one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, someone he could admire. Still not a team that's like, hey, he didn't jump to the Pats, which is super heat, right? He picked a team that's like, hey, they were an underdog, but they have like the greatest QB of all time / greatest human being ever in Drew Brees. Check out the charity work, also the statistics. What? J.J. Watt hasn't played the last 2 seasons. Drew has played.
Charity work.
Yeah, it's really easy to do charity work when you're not playing in the NFL. Anyways, so Jamie, kind of doing the switcheroo, like we got closer as friends, and I feel like maybe my fiery passion for the Saints, or potentially 5 of the 9 5,000-yard seasons, or Alvin Kamara, some of that just seeps into the excellence that Jamie wants to cheer for. You know what? If a team breaks your heart, but they have stand-up people a la the Denver Broncos with Tim Tebow, that's fine. But if a team breaks your heart and then goes out and drafts an idiot like Jameis Winston, by all means switch. You know what? If they're not reflective of you as a football mind, as a human being, or as a casual fan, by all means switch. Sports, you often get attached to teams before. Now sports, you're attached to players and what those players represent and what they do on the football field, especially when you begin coaching. So, Jamie, by all means, don't be attached to the Bucs. They got Levante David. Yeah, he's awesome. Gerald McCoy, he's good. The rest of them, man, I don't know. Give or take. They don't
do anything off the field unless it's get arrested, and you're like second worst next to the Cowboys, because if you haven't been arrested in the last 7 years, the Cowboys aren't signing you. But you know what? Good on you, man. It's not your fault the Saints lost. It's kind of your fault the Saints lost. It's the only reasonable explanation I have for it. But good on you, dude. The Saints are coming. Welcome to Who That Nation a second time.
I'm going last.
Yeah, actually, I was going to go last, but I'll go after Hykel then. Hyke, you got the floor first, then I'll go next before Jamie concludes it.
I mean, just before you get into tearing into Jamie, remember you tied with Cleveland this weekend.
Hey, I already chirped them, bud. I already chirped them this week.
But we've beaten this like a dead horse, this whole fandom thing here and swapping teams. But my issue with this is that it's in the same division.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Like, that's all it is. I mean, if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan and you need to come over to the right side, that's totally okay.
Oh yeah, buddy.
But as far as football goes, it's like I'm not just gonna jump over and be a Texans fan because I don't know. I could pick something wrong with every team. As far as I couldn't jump and want to be a Saints fan because I lost to them in the Super Bowl on an onside fucking kick.
End of pick, idiot.
Listen, I left. I went out to the garage and took care of myself because my team wasn't going to do it for me. But no, in all seriousness, my only issue with this is jump in division or stay in the same division. If you're going to change teams, at least jump divisions. That's all.
First off, I'll say, Justin, I already chirped the Steelers when I started already, so that's totally fine. But listen, a couple things before. I'm not going to lay into you. I'm just going to state facts. Chirping's not chirping unless if you're being an honest individual, you're not really chirping. Just being honest with the guy. Just being a true friend. I'm going to be a true friend to you right now. I'm going to call this the true friend part. Okay? As a hockey guy, baseball guy, basketball guy, loving sports, I'm a pure Toronto fan.
I don't know anything about basketball.
I do, actually. Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
You know about basketball?
We'll talk about basketball in a few minutes. Holy crap. Oh, I love Dustin's chirping. Anyways, getting to my points. I've been a Toronto fan my whole life for basically everything except the NFL, obviously, being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So I saw the Leafs, the Raptors, and Blue Jays absolutely suck, and I remained fans with them. I grew up bleeding the blue, bleeding the Dino purple, and bleeding the Blue Jay blue as well. I loved those teams as through all the thick and thin because that's how I am. Loyalty. Friend, that's where I'm going to come in, is loyalty. And you shut your mouth over there. Loyalty. No, it's not. Couple things I'm going to bring up for sports statistics from ESPN. Okay, we're going to talk about true loyalties in sports. Couple definitions of how you are towards a team that you choose. Once you choose a team, you're stuck with that team for the rest of your life, unless one of the following conditions apply. Your team moves to another city. You grew up in that city that didn't field that team anymore, so the team moved to that respective city that you grew up in. So it ties to the first point. One of your family members plays for that respective team. The owner of your team aggressively treated his fans in a negative way or moved your team. And lastly, the reason if you wanted to leave into another team is that you're not a true sports fan. So I'm not going to go with that because you are a sports fan. Those are the only regions and conditions apply. There's another stupid one about Reggie Jackson and about just about nonsense in terms of sports, why an owner can really affect someone from moving from a team. I'm a big fan of the first one where you're stuck with a team for life. It's like a prison sentence being a fucking Maple Leafs fan, a Raptors fan, and also Blue Jays fan. Not a Steelers fan. I've seen championships. At least I can say one of my team has won a championship.
Yeah, not enough.
Okay? But at the end of the day, when you like a team, love a team, that's fine. But shouldn't be just love. You should not be able to live without that team. Like and love are different than being able to not to live without something. I couldn't live without the Leafs. I couldn't live without the Jays and Raptors. Those are the teams that I bleed. As I hold a cup here that says Maple Leafs, I don't want to let this cup go here right now. So how you're able to switch a team is very shocking to me. You have your reasons, and like I said, the last reason is not within any reason of what you are, because you have and are a true sports guy and well knowledge at it. So I think he's a smart man making a stupid decision. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be a friend to you and stress the word loyalty. I couldn't do what you did, but I'm not in your shoes. I'm going to give you the floor for a bit because you need to. And just so Dustin knows, I know a lot about basketball and sports. That's why I have a show, first off. But moving on from that, as Dustin missed, I will stress the word just loyalty. But you get a chance to explain yourself.
All right. Well, first, Dave, I guess, six men on the court, right, at the time? 6 men? 6 men? Yeah.
That's why they have this 6-man award. That's why they have the 6-man.
It makes a lot of sense now, right? I think.
Let me see. Who's the last Oklahoma City Thunder player to win the 6th Man of the Year award?
It's either James Harden.
James Harden.
It was James Harden.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. No one was asking you.
I was going to say James Harden, or I was even going to say fucking Russ at the time, but
Yeah.
It was James Harden.
Well,
and I got that right, by the way, so fuck you.
He was also questioning it, which
Who holds the record for the most three-pointers by a Raptor in a game? Moving on.
3-pointers?
Yeah, you don't know that.
Cal Lowry?
No.
I have no idea.
Who?
Marshall.
Yeah,
Marshall.
no one cares about the Raptors because they're losers. They've never won anything. Neither is Oklahoma, but that's my team.
Moving on, Jamie. Explain why you are a switcher of teams.
True or false? True or false? Dustin convinced you to switch teams.
That's a good question.
It's somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Oh, true.
It's true or false.
There's only two
It's true
answers.
or false.
I'm curious. I want to know what kind of
true.
influence I have.
It's true. Don't let him influence you.
I'll say he got me the final 10% there.
True.
True.
True. It's true.
Yeah.
He had an impact on your decision.
He did, 100%. He 100% did.
How many Molson products did you have to feed you before you decided?
None. It was a sober decision. I'll say that.
Let's let the man speak. This is very interesting because it's the most honest and transparent insight into how one who knows the sport very well makes a switch. Everybody listen.
So, I mean, breaking down like my football analytical mind, I don't. If I'm gonna break it down all the way to there, I don't follow anybody because I want to watch good games. I want to watch systems. I want to watch stuff like that. I want to watch players. I want to watch how the game is played, and I don't want to feel biased as I'm watching. The more I've said it before, like when I made the announcement, whatever, I guess on the game back, the decision, sure, whatever we want to label it as.
Bringing his talents.
Yeah, I think you guys brought that up at the same time. It's
Born on the bayou.
jeez. I tried. I mean, I realized that I'd fallen in love with like eras of football and eras of the Bucks, and when John Gruden left, I hated them for years and years and years. And I mean, you guys can say, right, you struggle through it. Yeah, you guys can say you struggle through it, whatever. And then when Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota were coming out, and I mean, neither guy have really panned out. I was really hoping we'd draft Mariota at the time. Jameis has been nothing but trouble. And then I watched that Hard Knocks, and I was like, these guys are terrible. This is just a firestorm of an organization.
Dumpster fire.
It's completely bad, dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it.
Tire fire.
But regardless, I mean, I've always liked Drew. I've always been a fan of Breeze. I mean, despite the fact that they're in the same division, I mean, sure, you're supposed to hate your own division, whatever. I didn't really start being a football fan until I was like 13. I didn't start following a team. I didn't really pay attention. And I had nobody in my house to guide me somewhere. I mean, I'm a Blackhawks fan in hockey because my dad's a Blackhawks fan, and I've been that since I was 5, right? So it's a little bit different. I'm the guy in my house who leads the football discussion, right? Like, so sure, it's a little bit different. Everybody can hate on it however they want. I mean, I like Drew. I'm following the Saints. I'm a fan. I like him. I like Sean Payton, right? I respect him as a coach. I respect him as an offensive coordinator. You guys can say whatever you want. I mean, people are going to disagree with me. It is what it is. I'm well aware with that. I'm gonna stand here. I'll take my lumps, whatever. Sure, you can blame me for the week 1 loss. Doesn't matter. I still think Fitzpatrick is going to shit the bed at some point in the season, a lot.
Like next week.
And, yeah, the Saints defense got shocked, but they're going to bounce back. Go ahead.
How many W's does Drew Brees eat this season?
He doesn't eat any of them because Jameis Winston is the only one who apparently thinks you eat a W. But enough W.
Is that the tipping point?
That was one of the tipping points, but it was the lobster. Let's be real. It was the lobster incident, and then that came along, and it was like, oof. However many W's it takes to make the playoffs, that's the answer.
And then he's mistaking Uber rides for Uber Eats, which is like a massive no-no when you're an NFL player, apparently.
Well, you spoke your word. I don't agree, but you're still a friend. You're still a friend. I don't ever question. The only person I question is Dustin, and then we just chirp.
Saints fan forever.
Moving on. Next topic on the table. We got a couple more topics for us before we wrap up the show. I want to jump into Serena Williams. Now, the Serena Williams incident has been invading the sports world, especially in terms of the argument with the ref. The word that she used was, "You're a thief." Serena Williams, arguably the most iconic female athlete ever to be an athlete. I just want to go with that term. Is that the right English? Don't chirp. Doesn't matter.
She's the greatest athlete ever.
Maybe. Period. She also won Wimbledon pregnant. 4 months pregnant. I forget what it was. But that's not the story. The one I want to jump into is about that game and about her reaction. How do you like when a sports figure of her respect or her iconic stature, thank you very much, Jamie, stature, how you think of that being a sports fan, first off, and the second part of the question, Naomi Osaka winning against her idol and getting booed when she wins, I think it's absolute horseshit. Dustin, I'm going to go to you second. I'm letting Justin start quick, and then Dustin goes second.
I mean, I don't really have a lot of opinions. It's not going to get me in trouble on this one. When you're an athlete that's held in that regard, you need to keep your composure.
John McEnroe.
Well, that's just it. And I think more of the blowback on this situation is because of the hissy fit.
Yeah. And she was mic'd up for it.
Well, and that's it, too. That makes it 1,000 times worse is when every media outlet has every word that came out of your mouth. It's not to be said that people haven't blown up on refs before, but they didn't get every word on tape and then put it on TV 5 minutes later. So, you knew you were mic'd up. Don't do that. The end. Move on. You're a role model. Act like a role model.
DG.
I've got a bit of a hot take on this. The reality of it is Serena's coming off of the birth of a child, and the only person here at the table who's seen the birth of a child.
The guy speaks on paternity leave over
The only guy who's experienced the birth of a child, even though Premo's 40 years old, I'm 28, I've been more mature, and see what a woman's body goes through, that experience. Hold on. Everyone's laughing at me, just paint a picture. But honestly, if my wife was a pro athlete and she turned around after just giving birth to a child, and the pregnancy stage of a woman, like, it is unbelievable the changes their body goes through. For her to come back so soon off of having a child and managing those expectations, let's be real, she was losing already. Like, it's not that Serena was at her peak and lost because of this referee. Like, she's recovering from the birth of a child, and she made the U.S. Open final, which was unbelievable to begin with, and she lost to a better competition. She got docked a game, but she lost something like 6-2 in the first set. And then she said it was sexist, which doesn't make sense because it's women's tennis. If it was sexist, it would go both ways. And then here's the hottest topic, is it is it coincidence that the weekend before or that weekend she's hanging out with Colin Kaepernick? Like, I'm surprised that angle hasn't. I'm surprised that angle hasn't come in, right? Because everyone's making excuses as to why the greatest women's tennis player / greatest athlete of all time lost a tennis match. Newsflash: it's professional sports. The Saints just lost to the Bucks. Roger Federer lost. Nadal pulled out. Like, it's professional sports. And just because one small thing happened, if she dominated the whole match and got docked a game and won the set 6-2, this wouldn't be an issue. The fact that she lost like 6-2, 6-2, or whatever the hell it was, now it's an issue. She lost the rest of the games on her own. But she's not even at peak physical condition. So what is the issue? What is the issue?
Premo. Well, that was a pretty hot take. I think you got a little bit away from the subject matter there. We're talking about her reaction to the umpire and her outburst on the court. And I don't know where you went, but it was a little bit off topic. So it was good, though. We're gonna rein this thing back in here.
Answer all of my questions.
Absolutely not. I will not go into the transformation of a woman's body.
You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't. You're right.
Those gray hairs are just bad.
No, I think I mean, everyone's been disappointed with the call or been upset with the call before, and you let it out on the ref or the umpire or whoever it is. I mean, that's human nature. I have no issue with that. My issue is it kind of went on a little bit. I mean, let the umpire know you're upset, move on, continue to play the game. It went on a little bit too long, and the biggest negative that came out of this whole thing was Naomi Osaka wins her first major, and we're not talking about it. This girl's young up-and-comer, first Japanese,
20 years old, right?
Yeah, first Japanese woman to win a major, and her role model Serena. Hopefully, she's gonna be a role model for people in Japan, people across the world. This is a big deal for her.
She beat good competition.
I watched a couple of her matches, and I actually watched some women's tennis during the U.S. Open, and she dominated a couple of her matches and was very good, and I was very impressed. I think it takes away from her winning her first major. It disappoints me. I feel bad for her. I know that Serena tried to kind of make it better in the post game and say cheer for her or whatever, but I think she created that atmosphere and that energy that led to her being booed. So a lot of that's on Serena. She needs to make it up to her somehow, I think. I don't know how she does that, but I think a lot of that's on her, and we need to be talking about Naomi Osaka winning her first major, not Serena Williams. Everyone gets upset with the umpire every once in a while. Let him know you're upset. Don't drag it out. Don't attack the guy's personality saying he's sexist or this or that. He's just making a call. That's his job. That's what he's paid there to do. Sometimes they make mistakes. You can let him know you're upset. Carry on with the match. I think it dragged on a little bit too long, but the biggest disappointment is that this young lady that won her first major is not being recognized for what she just accomplished. And it was amazing. She had some amazing matches, beat some good competition. So that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up if you didn't, Preem, right? The fact that we should be talking about Naomi instead of what Serena did. I mean, she's competitive. You give her that, right? And you're going to be upset about a point getting taken away. But, yeah, it dragged on way too long. And I think Serena realized in the post game, right, that she screwed up big time and took it too far. And then, obviously, when the soundbite came out, she probably realized, wow, this looks really bad. So I think she'll learn from it and move on. And, I mean, it doesn't mean that she's not still the best female tennis player in the world. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that, but we'll have to see in the future.
Quickly, fellas, I'll say, because we've still got one more topic before we wrap up tonight's show. I couldn't agree more. You know, for her yelling at the referee and the official, that happens in games. Most athletes do it in every other sport. It's the heat, it's the moment, it's competitiveness. You want to win. There's no sexist involved in that. The ref was making a call based on what he assumed, and that's what happened. The big thing that I want to jump into is the fans' reaction. It's definitely, you know, the win with Naomi Osaka winning. Kudos, you've already touched that, Primo. I won't dive into that much more because it's definitely well-deserved. And Peter, role model, it's good to see that. It's a great story for sports. But the fans' reaction, that is fucking classless bullshit. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to say those exact terms because they're classless. I don't care if you don't agree with the fucking call or anything. I understand fan favorite is Serena Williams. Heck, she's one of the reasons why I love tennis. Okay? There's Nadal, there's Federer, there's guys that obviously too, but Serena's one of the most iconic female, if not the most, like Dustin said, iconic athletes ever.
And let me tell you, fans reacting to her winning, it made me question if they were reacting based on her race. I'm sorry, I'm going there because U.S. Open, a Japanese win. I'm taking it to another whole candy there. I understand. I shouldn't go there. But the fans' reaction, her parents were in the stands there and absolutely disgusted. And I felt uncomfortable for them. It made me feel uncomfortable. It's actually one of the only U.S. Open match I had the chance to watch, and it was amazing to watch. It was a great game. Great match. I'm sorry. And having that from the fans' reaction, that is brutal. The booing crowd was actually broadcasted on Ellen, and Ellen said the exact quotes of that is really unfortunate, and she was very upset to see that. Okay, and that's coming from someone who's also another iconic individual in the entertainment world. So I will say right now, the fans, that's where I want to jump into and conclude with saying that was classless, that was bullshit. You don't do that. You cheer and you show good support. The girl was crying and uncomfortable. She just won against her idol. She did a great job, and she beat the best to get there. Have some class. End of story. Dustin, you have anything to add to that?
The reality is you're right, but the harsh reality is, you look at, one has 20,000 Instagram followers and the other has 20 million. You're never going to cheer against your hometown crowd, your idol. The woman, everyone wants to see Tiger Woods win another golf tournament, right? And it's one of those things where hindsight is always 20/20, and a sober thought is always clearer. But in the moment, when you're hoping to see Serena Williams bounce back from a pregnancy, down a set, she's fired up, right? Everyone in the crowd wants that penultimate moment, and they feel like they didn't have a penultimate moment because the best tennis player, women's tennis player, or tennis player or athlete that's ever graced the earth didn't win. Unfortunately, they missed the part where a young up-and-comer has maybe finally blossomed. So it's always looking at the grass as half greener, or they're missing the point, but you can't fault the masses because...
Yeah, you can. Would you have booed? Would you have booed in that stadium?
No, we're Canadian. We're Canadian, man. We're raised different. We're raised different.
It doesn't matter what your nationality is. Just be a good person.
I wouldn't have cheered Ryan Fitzpatrick's performance against the Saints. Just like you wouldn't cheer Dak Prescott's coming of age against the Giants.
You don't celebrate, or you don't. I mean, you wouldn't celebrate someone else's misfortunes, right? And that's basically what they were doing. You know what I mean?
How many people that are Giants fans celebrated Tony Romo breaking his back 3 years in a row?
Celebrated? They didn't celebrate. Like when the guy goes down injured, you don't cheer.
They did.
When a guy goes off in a cart and he makes it off and he gives a thumbs up, what do all the fans do?
Are you in New York?
Yeah, you're in New York. Tony Romo goes off the field on a cart, gives a thumbs up. What do the fans do?
They're cheering because Tony Romo's not going to dust them later down the road. That's what's going on. Either way, it's a hard apples to apples because there's no Serena Williams of football or hockey.
No, but there's being a good sportsman in every sport, and that's what you do. You're a good sportsman. That's what. It's nothing to do with tennis or football or whatever, or who's playing or not. You don't boo when someone just won a championship.
And I agree with you, but is the harsh reality that all of those people were Serena fans and they thought she was cheated? That's what it was, right? It's not a third party like us. They were Serena fans who paid an obscene amount of money to sit in the stands, or someone who's got some sort of third party tie with the sport that is making these comments. That's my point, is that it's very unfortunate that people can't put the game ahead of the individual, but I believe that's what happened.
Moving on, fellas, jumping from it. Last topic, quick, around the table. I do want to bring up the Raptors. And I got a funny little question to close off everything about Dustin Johnson. Not Dustin Rodham. Toronto Raptors, Kawhi Leonard. We talked about this trade numerous times on the show. I just want to get the topic about going around and getting your opinion on the offseason move now that it's happened, now that it's digested, has it settled in, has it fit with you more? It's like what Jerry Stackhouse said, that it's part of the business. And looking at it now, potentially the Raptors made moves in their organization, moving out Casey and DeMar DeRozan, two people that the people thought that didn't have to move. Maybe they were. The Pistons are getting a good coach in Casey, but the Raptors are still getting Kawhi Leonard. If he plays healthy, he's one of the best players in the NBA. So at the end of the day, for people to say the Raptors are going to finish lower than 5th, 4th, or 3rd, I think they're stupid. I think they're still finishing top in the Eastern Conference this year. It's going to be them and the Celtics battling 1-2. Even the 76ers. I think that's where the third team is going to come in. I love the 76ers. Trust the process. I've always been a fan. Pacers are good. And I also think the Pistons are going to have a good year as well with not be a top team, but be a top 6 in the Eastern Conference. So you Michigan listeners will like that, hear that. And the Lakers, there's a team that I don't think will win this year. I shouldn't say even close, but I think they'll be a second round and then defeated. But going to the question of the Raptors, now that the offseason's happened, does that trade make more sense, or is it still a bold move / stupid move that some people still think? I think people that call it stupid is dumb. I know Kawhi might leave next year or will leave, whatever you want to say, but good move. And the second part of the question is, do the Raptors get 50-plus wins this season again? Breams, I'll start with you. We'll go around the table, and we'll end it back with me.
Yeah, I don't know about 50-plus wins. I think they finish in the top 3 in the East for sure. I know we talked about this in the summer when the trade happened, and I can see it from both perspectives. I think this trade makes sense and is a great trade, an unbelievable trade if Kawhi stays after this year. If not, I think he gives him a chance to be a top team in the Eastern Conference and maybe contend. He was obviously one of the best two-way players in the game. I think he does it. This trade doesn't hurt them. The only way it hurts them is if in the long run, if they can't re-sign him, I think that really hurts their chances moving forward. But for this year, I think it makes them a good team, a contender again. And they had to switch something up, and obviously things weren't working. They couldn't get over that hump against Cleveland. And now LeBron's gone, so it made things be a little bit easier. But I like the trade, and if they can sign him, I like it even more.
Justin?
All right, I'm out of here.
So there was a lot of controversy with the trade because DeMar DeRozan was the Toronto Raptors, and as a human being, I felt heartbroken for a guy who was really the first to commit to Toronto as a home, as a basketball organization, as a viable place to grow his roots and to just stay, right? This is an LA kid who decided that the Great White North was his home, and this is what he was embracing, and we never had that. Carter left, McGrady left, Billups left, or traded, right? So this was the first penultimate all-star or consistent all-star that decided that the Raptors were and Toronto was his home, which it breaks my heart as a human being. Take a step back, because sports is not always about being human, it's about business and winning. Is Kawhi better than DeMar DeRozan? Yes. Is he a better defender? A million times over. Is he a better scorer? Probably. Is he a different type of player? DeMar DeRozan feeds off of ISO basketball. Is ISO basketball the way to win basketball games? No. It's all about ball movement and defense. No, Houston, it's a different animal with Chris Paul.
For sure, yeah.
So, good call. Good call.
They proved it's doable, but you have to have the personnel.
Good call out, but Houston still isn't. Houston's blueprint is not the same as any other team, and everybody's got to understand that. So this is the Paul George effect. Can we get, like OKC, can we get Kawhi Leonard to come in his last year like Paul George did in OKC? And can Kawhi Leonard, I'm going to look up a stat here. Los Angeles population. Let's see here. No, I think it was like 3.5 million.
That's a good amount.
Okay, hear me out. So Kawhi Leonard wants to be
the face of a franchise for $3.5 million. Well, Kawhi, I'm telling you right now, you don't listen. No one cares, but you can be the face of a franchise for $33.5 million. Right? Toronto Raptors is all we have, and we might not be, the centerpiece of basketball between LA Lakers, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, but we are Canada, and Toronto Raptors are our team. There's 33 million of us, and we are all Raptors supporters, right? I'm an OKC fan, but I want the Raptors to do well. And I'm one of 33 to 35 million, depending on, whatever our population is. It's somewhere in there. So listen, I understand that the endorsements this, the endorsements that, but if you're the face of Canada basketball, and I'm not talking you're Canadian, but you are the penultimate player in Canada, there are endorsement deals waiting for you. You are in the spotlight if you are Toronto Raptors face of the franchise, who this year will win more than 50 games. We will win more than 50 games. Dwayne Casey started the movement away from iso ball. The new coach, can't remember his name. Nick Nurse. I don't know much about him. But honestly, Brad Stevens, who coaches the Boston Celtics, is one of the most brilliant basketball minds I've honestly... I don't even know what to say. He is so smart. But the Toronto Raptors brand started moving away from iso ball and into that kind of ball movement, defense, shoot a lot of threes, stretch the floor, create space for each other, as opposed to that dish it, everybody back out, and there's going to be a drive or a pull-up. So the Toronto Raptors as an organization has to continue to evolve, but outside of LeBron, Harden as a scorer.
Kyrie.
No, man. Kawhi is better than Kyrie.
Yeah, he is. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you meant your labeling.
I'm talking a building block, man. Kawhi with his entire skill set is to me it's LeBron, Kevin Durant.
There you go. That's the other one.
And I'm having a hard time picking someone else I'd rather build around, because of his defensive capabilities. You have to shut down a guy like Durant or LeBron if you want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and he's done it. He's been there. He's been there, done that. Toronto Raptors defense was fairly good last year, I think top 5.
Now wait. Danny Green too. Add
Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, and you know what, man? We got some. No offense to DeRozan, he wasn't great on defense. He was not great on defense. So, new look Raptors. The entire season should be about teaching Kawhi what it's like to be the face of a nation instead of the face of a franchise, and doing some work for him to get endorsements, to get him to stay, and to go, you know what? I'm like Paul George. I'm going to start something here in a place that no one would pick first, but I'm going to be the guy to deliver. And I'm going to be that guy for an entire country. And that's what Kawhi Leonard needs to be.
Yeah, and the bottom line, right, is just you hope, right? We're not going to really know until next offseason whether he makes that decision, unfortunately. I'm going to agree. I think the Raps are going to win 50 games. How much higher they go above 50, who knows? I don't think we're going to know until that 82nd game of the regular season's played and we figure out where they fall in the playoff standings. I think they're going to have a home court matchup in the first round for sure. I'd be very surprised if they fall to that 5 seed or lower.
Yep.
I think, and if they do, that's a letdown of a year, to be honest, because you have to do well, and if you want Kawhi to stay, if you're in that If you have a crappy first-round matchup, hey, if you start upsetting people, and I mean, we've seen it in sports, right? 8 seeds, they've won championships. It's not unseen. But I don't think the Raptors are that team. I think they're better than that, for sure.
You got Ibaka, Lowry.
It's not that deep, right? I don't think that Eastern Conference is that deep, especially without LeBron.
I don't even think the Celtics are better than them. So they have Kawhi, they have Lowry, they have Serge Ibaka. Everyone can share Valanciunas. Yeah, he's a beast too. I should maybe Celtics and Raptors are 1-2, I think. But going back, you got Valanciunas still playing. You also have, Red Van Fleet had a great year. Danny Green is the king of threes and also playing D. You got Ogunobia. and Geraldine Wright. You got guys there that are young, up and coming. They have a full team of 10, 11 guys that are good. So obviously, franchise guys being Lowry and Leonard, but let's not forget Ibaka is not a joke either. The guy's a threat defensively. That team, they can win games 100-72 this year. Because Kyle can get 30 points a game, Lenny can get 30 points a game, but they can also have the ability to shut down the ball.
Yeah, for sure. I'll agree with you, Dave. I think other than I think Boston and Philly, those are the two biggest competition in the East for them this year.
Maybe the Bucks and Pistons.
Yeah, the Bucks would be the next one, and then the Pistons, right? So I think the Raptors are at worst the 5 seed, at absolute worst, unless we have some kind of devastating injury or something like that. Right? I mean, yeah, we're gonna knock on wood. There's a few guys. But bottom line, right? I think they're somewhere in that 55 win column, which I think is going to put them in the 2 or the 3 seed. Bottom line.
Now that's a good chat.
Not bad.
That's a good chat. There's good 3 topics we discussed, and we're going to halt it there. Because if we go into any more topics, it might be a little bit longer. Producer Ghost and Scotty and the people in the background, also got to go home as well. As long as the people here on the panel. And speaking of that, Matt Premo and Justin Hykel actually had to tuck and roll based on the time. Justin has to get up at 6. Premo has to get up at 6. We're going a little bit past midnight here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. And obviously the time constraint thing was kind of a little bit of an issue here tonight, as always. But when you have a panel like this, we usually get a bye for a couple hours. And you know what? We did go a little bit above 2 hours. And for you, the listeners listening as far as you did, we obviously appreciate the loyalty from our listeners. But we did provide to you an action-packed and very entertaining show with the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. But Justin and Matt did say thanks, and also they plan to be back here next week. And obviously we're here weekly at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. Now, tomorrow, fellas, I have Dustin and Jamie here. It'll be myself and Justin Hykel on location at Northern Superior Brewery. We plan to have a guest on. We also been in conversation with Trevor Zachary, trying to get something arranged there for that. We have some good up-and-coming shows as well. Monday at the Wicked Sister. Be live on radio next week is a plan on Eagle 95.1 at the Wicked Sister. We'll be back here. Actually, let me backtrack for a second. The Wicked Sisters from 6 till 8 p.m. on Mondays with myself, Scott, Butch, and EJ, along with Katie Woolen. Next week, we're back here at Sports Center, and every week on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And we're going to be at the brewery on Thursday this week, but next week we will have an agenda change due to my good friend, best friend, Jerry Patingolo, who must stand up as the best man for in his wedding. His stag is on the 20th, so I will be a part of that. That is a Thursday, so we will be having the show on Friday, the 21st, next week. So that's a little kind of an update, and throughout the week, next week, we will update you on the show's agendas and special guests. I want to give a shout out to the sponsors that make this show possible, along with you, of course, the listeners. We also have SportsCenter Bar and Grill, where they have their famous 75-cent wing night, That is on Wednesdays here. And we also have the Sunday game day draws, and you can win 4 tickets to the Miller Lite Top Room at Ford Field for the Lions. Congratulations to Marnie and Jason Thompson for winning the tickets this week for the Patriots and Lions. And next draw will be on Wednesday, the 25th, as they draw for the Lions and the Packers. Along with other additional sponsors, Northern Superior Brewing Company. We also have North Shore Sports and Auto, Silver Creek Golf Course, the Wicked Sister, the Superior Pro Shop, the Salon, Discover the Canvas, Pingatora Cleaners, Northern Quitters in Need, Big Brother Big Sister, KBX Hockey, and Northern Signs as well. And we also like to state our partnership with the Sioux Thunderbirds, along with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, that is to make everything possible as we're working closely with them. Now, before I sign up officially on the show, I want to say thanks to Dustin for coming by. Dustin, thanks for coming by, buddy. It was good to have you back on the show as you cheek out. Next week, potentially, buddy?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Like that. Jamie, thanks.
Yes, sir. We'll be back.
next week. And as I said, Matt and Justin, who tucked out a little bit earlier. And if you're listening on the website, don't hesitate to veer over to the merchandise portion to purchase a t-shirt for $25. Proceeds go towards other careers in need and Big Brother Big Sister. Don't hesitate to follow the website. Also follow the Instagram page at The Game Sports Show SSM, and also follow the Podbean page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com as well. Without further ado, getting to the conclusion. Keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.